All right.
Hi.
What makes today fun is I have no idea what we're talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very typical Hattie and Evie hang.
You got it.
What are you feeling today?
So let me tell you, I had no idea what we were going to discuss either.
Perfect.
And I was a little bit late,
Yeah.
which isn't abnormal for me. The reason I was later than I thought I was going to be is because as I was driving down this main road to get to the studio, there was a guy standing on the side of the road with a cane. Did you see him when you were
No.
coming in? He wasn't there when you came through, was he?
I don't think
On
so.
the corner. You know
There
that
was
weird
nobody.
intersection where you turn off the freeway and then you come
Yeah.
down this road.
No, I didn't see anybody.
Okay, so that's even more interesting. So there was this guy standing on the side of the road that had a really long beard, cap pulled over his head, cane hunched over, and his sign said, "Amputee, please help." And I'm going fast on that road, right? Turning quickly. And I don't ever carry cash with me. And I looked over and I had half of my breakfast burrito. I had stopped at the cafe and got my breakfast burrito, and I had half of that left, and I was late. And it was in a moment, I was like, oh yeah, this guy needs my breakfast. So I flipped in, turned around to give him my breakfast. And he was like, "God bless you, ma'am." And he had a busted across nose. And this was someone who's been through a lot. And so I thought, oh, that's what we need to talk about, is we need to talk about resilience.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a lot of that going on right now.
There is, and I think there's a big lack of it in the world right now.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that that's just a great conversation to have.
Okay.
This guy is resilient beyond a level any of us could ever fathom. Right? It's cold out. He's an amputee.
Yep.
He's got a cane. He's probably 65. And all I could think about is, oh, we're all preparing for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And this guy's just standing on the side of the highway.
Am I going to eat today?
Am I going to eat today? And for one meal, yes,
Right.
my burrito.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't think those things are accidents in our life. When, like, he wasn't standing there when you drove through. He was standing there when I drove through 30 minutes later. I don't believe those things are accidents.
Not at all.
I think they're placed in our life. Like I just told you when I walked in, I was like, it was like Jesus was standing on the side of the road, and what was I going to do? Right? And if we're paying attention, we see those things.
Well, now I'm wondering, like, was I just so caught in getting here
Maybe.
that I just missed it? And, oh, it's true. Like, I remember years ago, I had a conversation with a woman who worked on, like, Skid Row. And she was talking about how, like, tough it was to, like, get people to care because, like, there's so many of those, you know, environments that, like, they really don't have to be resilient because there's so much of this, like, infrastructure laid out for them to keep them at a place where they don't have to be. But then to hear on the flip side of that, like, the success stories of what just so many people have had to walk through to get to a side of just, I'm going to eat today. Ugh. So, okay.
Yeah. So that's not heavy. It's just real, right? And I think it's a good time, even leading up to Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
when all of us are going into the holidays and we're all thinking about what we're going to have for dinner, and we're thinking about where we're going to fly to see our family, and all the things that we get to do that so many other people don't get to do and have never done,
Yes.
right? What gifts are we going to buy for people for Christmas, right? I think it's a good time to talk about this.
Resilience and expectations. I feel they go a little bit hand in hand because holidays are a time where all these shoulds and have tos and I've got to get this done come in. And I heard this quote years ago that said the only thing that we really have to do in life is die. That's it.
Yes.
Everything else gets to be a choice. And I think that is so profound this time of year when people are stepping into different family dynamics or we've always done it this wayers. And it's, man, we get to do things and we get to change our mind. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, I love that. Love how you wove that together. Because just so everybody realizes, I don't do any I should do this.
Yes.
I mean, when I'm saying none, I'm saying zero. Zero. I typically go away for my birthday because I like to be alone, not because I should do this and this.
Right.
Holidays, I don't do any shoulds. I don't typically buy people Christmas presents unless it's something that I found throughout the year that maybe is meaningful and made me think of them. Yeah. So I don't buy people a present because there's some date on the calendar, because Christmas isn't really Christmas. We don't need to get into that, but Christmas is actually in January. So, okay. So because there's an arbitrary date on the calendar that someone somewhere told us we're supposed to celebrate this, like when, for me, I'm a Christian, so I have the real meaning of Christmas behind me, right? Not the commercial version, that I'm not going to buy you a present because there's a date on the calendar, that I'm just going to go, man, I got to hurry up and send her something.
Yeah. Oof.
No, like throughout the year, I'm always gathering things. So by the time Christmas comes along, I have things for people.
Right.
Or not. Right? And our family doesn't do massive presents at all. That feels just, I don't like overconsumption and over commercialism, right? Don't get me wrong, I love really nice things, right? There's no question, I do. I'm all about it. I'm all about the purses and the shoes and all the things. Only what I can afford.
And you're never expecting 10 of them on any one day.
No, and our family doesn't like to participate in that. So we don't want chaos, we don't want stress, we don't want financial stress during the holidays. And so I'll tell you where all this started, because this is a story of resilience. So just to put that out there, I'm living proof that you don't have to do the shoulds. You can get there, right? You should do on a holiday what you want to do on a holiday.
Yes. In our house, we say, you're getting a little shooty. Kind of stinks in here. You're a little shooty right now.
I love that.
It just gets so loud so fast. And I know entrepreneurship, but like in any aspect of life, but entrepreneurship, I think, is one where like at quite literally any moment, there's a billion things you should be doing. And it's like, but what needs to get done right now? And what are you committing to? And so I'm very excited to hear this Christmas story.
So it's funny that we're talking about this, because right as I was driving up to turn and then saw this guy, my internal dialogue was, where is all this resilience come from in me? Because I've got a lot of fortitude.
Do you want to define resilience real quick?
The ability to overcome obstacles actually in your mind.
Okay.
Right? So not just what do you do about something when there's chaos or something difficult, right? But actually, what is your mindset through those things? Yeah. Does it completely crumble you and stress you out and you can't function when a big hurdle comes into your life?
Totally.
What do you do with that? And it all starts with mentally, what do you do with it? And so I thought, gosh, I'm dealing with a lot of things right now, which we can touch on. And as I was turning that corner, I was like, oh, if I had to name the biggest builder of my resilience and my mental strength and spiritual strength, it was the day I went and picked out Catherine's casket. And I can't believe I thought about that, just popping into my head right before I saw this guy that was hungry. This is why we needed to talk about resilience. It wasn't an accident. So I was eight months pregnant at the time, and really, really big, because what she had, trisomy 18, that chromosome manages the suck, swallow, breathe, suck, swallow, breathe function.
Gotcha.
Is written into that chromosome. And she had three of those chromosomes, right? And so her suck, swallow, breathe was not functioning properly, including when she was in utero. So babies regulate the amniotic fluid. I don't know if you knew that. No. I wouldn't have known that either until I had to experience it. So I had amniocentesis, which is my amniotic fluid was just growing and growing and growing because she couldn't properly regulate it. So she was just this tiny, sweet little thing floating around in literally like a mass of fluid. So I weighed over 200 pounds, but it was all fluid. It was all just right here. I was small everywhere else, and then just this massive tummy from my pregnancy. So I can remember the outfit that I had on, and the only thing I was ever going to get to plan for her was her funeral. And I knew that. And so I wanted it to be special. And I never forget the day I walked into the funeral home, and I was super pregnant, big, right? And the guy was like, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah." So my daughter, Catherine, we've named her, isn't going to live long. We don't know how long. She isn't going to live long, and I want to be able to make her arrangements now.
Oh.
Yeah. And the guy, I can just remember, he didn't know how to handle it. This is a guy that's, in funeral services. He sees it all, but not typically that. And there's something about that day and that moment. It didn't crush me. And driving today, I was like, if that doesn't crush you, walking into a funeral home and picking out beautiful little casket, there's not very many choices, right? It's like, do you want a white inside or do you want a pink inside? We went with pink. Picking that out as a mom, knowing what's coming, that shit will make you or it'll break you. And it made me. It didn't break me. So the shit I'm dealing with right now is like, yeah, why isn't this like raising my heart rate? And it's just not.
Yep.
And that one experience is a big part of why. Yeah.
Massively. Yesterday, I was fortunate to have a conversation at the cafe with someone about you. And they asked, like, how do you feel so comfortable trusting her? Like, how do you know that she is moving in a direction that you can align with? And I very simply said, well, first, I sent her our first podcast that speaks through your whole story. And I just said, if you knew where she'd walked before this, you wouldn't have any problem questioning. And that is the story that always comes to mind when I look to your heart, because I genuinely cannot imagine what that must have been like to hold. And it just makes business but a game. It's
right.
Nothing matters because that's what matters.
And there's plenty of parents out there, right? I have a dear friend who just went through this with his daughter, who she was 30, right? Died of a brain tumor, and watching her suffer. And I went to her funeral last year on November 10th, right? I have her prayer card sitting in my solarium where I do my prayers every morning, because this is the first year, right? This is the brutal. Yep. So the parents out there that have done that and picked out a casket for your child, I think you're really kind of the only people that know that, right? So when you say, like, I can't imagine, no, nobody can unless they've actually done it.
Truly.
And what a gift of resilience that gave me.
Massively.
In preparation for all of the things that I'm doing now and what's to come in my life, right? Like, just because you've had one experience of deep suffering or one trauma or one major catastrophe in your life, that doesn't mean you're done.
Right.
We don't know what's coming.
Yep.
Right? And I think in all the guidance and the things that we talk about to give people tools for living a brighter life, I think one thing that we haven't touched on, even in our Instagram lives and so far in the podcast, is the hard stuff, right? Like, how do you really get through the massive hurdles? And you face some, I face some, we all have, right, at different levels. And like, how we get through those pieces is a really important piece.
Massively.
And it's more than not, right? I think of life more in, it's a lot of hurdles and struggle.
Yeah.
With little pieces of happiness and ease sprinkled in.
Yeah.
Right? It's like waves and waves and waves. And then the tide will go out and you're like, oh, I'm free from some waves right now. And then, right? Yeah. There they come again.
Yeah.
So we don't want to get caught in the trap of just talking about this is how everything goes when it's great. because your life is going to be a whole lot of big fucking waves smashing you in the head and packing your ears with sand.
You bet.
And then what do people do to get through that?
My aunt, who lost her child to a domestic violence murder, she said to me that there are two types of people in the world, and there's once-borns who go through their life without ever really, maybe they did experience something traumatic, but they didn't face it. And they didn't say that because of this, my life is different now. They chose to move on and either pretend it didn't happen or bury it so deeply that they forgot it did. And then there's twice-borns, who something so massive, loss of a child, some massive break of trust, whatever the event was, that after that moment, they know that everything is different now. They don't get to live in the same reality that they once did. They're twice born. And I think that it's right on with where we're talking about. And I think that this conversation is a really exciting one in recognizing that people can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. I love that concept, and I think it's so freeing, because when you do meet somebody that you're like, you want to get to know them really, but then you recognize they don't know themselves.
Yep.
And it's like, man, let's get in there and know each other. But I do think it's quite freeing in the conversation around resilience, because it's when the rubber met the road. Did you turn and face it? Or are we still in a state
turn
of
and
afraid? Yep.
Turn and run from it. And as long as we continue to run from those things, we can't actually move forward.
No.
Right? We really can't.
And I think, again, I can't help but be on my cup so full, because where I also get so excited about the turn and face is that our ability to experience all the beautiful things in life, joy, gratitude, like genuinely the most beautiful states of life, are equally proportionate to the level we're willing to meet at our depth. And that's been something so unexpected in this new chapter of my life, at least, is people asking like, how are you so positive and like so happy all the time? It's like, well, I'm not. There's totally waves that come in and are like, oh my gosh, is this ever blah, blah, blah. But because I feel so fortunate to have walked one of my like darkest chapters so early in adulthood, that just, I really did believe that that is what my world was going to be, in this like deeply depressive, could not see a way out state. And then when you do finally find the courage to like look that in the face and take control back of your life, things just become so beautiful, because that's when everything becomes a choice. So yeah, I'm here for the conversation.
You're super resilient. Like, really, that's like you and I connect because you are. Like, things don't phase you, right? Like, they do phase you, but not at such a surface level where you internalize everything or you make anything overly emotional, right? Just speak to how that serves you in your life.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I really do believe that the only thing we have to do is die. I genuinely, that is one of my most guiding principles. Everything else is a little bit of a game. Like, how much of this life, I don't believe we're human beings having a spiritual experience. I believe we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Yes. How much human can I feel? Human is freaking hard. Human is confusing. And like, some of the depths that we are asked to go to are like, from the observer, like when you zoom it out, you're like, grief is so ugly and it is wrenching, but it is also so proportionate to the joy. And so it's like, by leaning into that acceptance early, I think was probably the biggest gift I could have been given as a human, because I think what I got to learn at, 20, a lot of people don't get to understand until they're 40 or 60, or if ever. And that I am genuinely like so grateful that that came so early in my world.
Yes. And someday we'll talk all about your story.
Okay.
You said something really, really profound there. And again, for any Christians listening, what Hattie said about you're a spiritual being having a human experience, and how much human can you experience.
Yes.
Right? So spot on. And if you believe in Jesus,
Yeah.
that's what Jesus did, right? He showed us what it means to have a human experience. And there was joy in that life,
Yes.
but there was so much pain and suffering.
Absolutely.
And so I just think that's an important thing to point out. A lot of Christians will think like, oh, he came down and just did all this for us. Great. He did all the suffering for us. No, he showed you how to suffer.
We are meant to be literally back to what you came to today. We are the hands of Jesus. We are the hands of God's Spirit. Source is what it is.
Right.
And so he performed miracles. What you gave that man this morning was a miracle in his eyes.
Yeah.
How beautifully profound that at any given day, we get to choose to perform some essence of miracle for someone. What a gift of humanity.
Right. It was like, thank you for allowing our paths to cross today.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And through that experience, not selfishly for me, oh, it lights me up. Like, I got
Totally.
a burrito, like I give it to you, right? That's not some miracle. But to be able to come and then share that, and hopefully that prompts other people to pay attention to the world around them.
You bet.
And are those people standing on the corner and you're missing them?
Mm-hmm.
That's why that happened today.
Yes.
To be able to get behind a microphone and put that out there, and then people are going to go, oh, maybe I'll pay a little more attention
You bet.
to what's going on around me and help people around me.
Yeah.
Not because you should, right? You should give 10%. You guys should all the, yeah, you do it because you know it's the right thing to do.
The right thing, and what goes out cannot help but come back around.
100%.
Like, we're currently doing a work through of The Magic. Have I told you about that book?
No.
It's called The Magic by Rhonda Byrne, and it's a 28-day radical gratitude practice. And every single day there's some essence of prompt of, like that day that I texted you that gratitude list written to you. Thank
Yeah.
you, Evie, for teaching me
Yeah.
to think so much bigger. Like, there's different practices like that. But she speaks to gratitude as miracles. How do we produce and see a world through a lens of gratitude over that of, kind of the dim and fear? And I think that when we speak to helping people, what kind of service and just love can we bring and truly provide to the world? It doesn't ever have to cost anything. It doesn't have to be any sort of grand gesture. It can be at the coffee shop line. Literally, the other day I was like, my very sweet barista, or often her name is Bree. And I was like, you know what, Bree? I love that every time I come in here, you just make me feel so welcome and at home in this space. And your coffee never misses. Like, it's that easy. But after that, she came up and just said, in tears, that was literally it. And she comes up and that really made my day today. Thank you. It's so easy. And it's so rewarding on every end of the spectrum. I love it. I could talk about gratitude for literal hours.
So good.
But
Yeah, right. It's that easy to help other people shine.
yes.
You shine because you did it and you light up even telling the story, right? It feels good to make other people feel good.
Totally.
Yep.
We're here to love on a lot of people. And I think that resilience is the greatest offering of love to yourself. Because often in times of resilience, the easy path is to cower and hide from it. But when you really look at what is going to move you forward in this experience, it is often showing up in a really ugly, hard, but loving way for yourself.
For sure.
I think back to in the speech that you gave, the Be the One speech. I come back to that so often when I think about your resilience and what it looked like for you to regain any sense of yourself when you were back digging in the garden. Because when we don't know what to pursue, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I have. Did I give that speech from Catherine's voice?
You gave the first part of it from her voice,
From her perspective,
and then you spoke a bit
telling
to
the
what it
story
felt like.
of her parents.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
And I think a lot of times when people are at a point of rebuilding themselves and they have no idea what they actually want because their entire reality's just been shattered, what do I pursue? And the easy, quick fix, high option is to pursue something of pleasure. Always.
For sure.
You
Pleasure
bet.
is such a distraction. It's a
Oh.
great distraction,
You
right?
bet. She's a
Spend money, scroll on social media,
drink,
drink,
smoke,
watch
Yeah,
porn, all the
100%.
things. Those are such easy and great quick outs
You bet.
from the real work.
Yes. And then none of those are really in fulfillment of what we're supposed to be doing here, which is to be having a deep and true human experience. And so I was, again, the same gal that I was having a conversation with earlier in the week who was younger. She was like, I just don't know what I want and what I want to pursue and da-da-da-da-da. And I think that probably the most profound place to start when it comes to resilient is by relentlessly pursuing yourself. How quickly and how wholly can you bring yourself back together, knowing all of that? And then we get to look at what next stage is. But it starts there.
Yeah, and a big part of that on the resilient side is not avoiding things that are hard. And the current world we're living in, we just don't have very much hard on the daily basis, right? Like we laugh about it. When I was growing up, you had to sit and, call in the radio station, request the song you want to hear, sit there with your tape recorder, like, right? This is really my life. And sit there with your tape recorder, wait about 3 hours, your song came on, and then you'd hit record and you'd be able to record it so then you would have it on tape. That's the kind of work and resilience, right, it took to even hear a song that you wanted to hear, right? Those may sound benign, they're not. Those sort of life experiences where you can't just have everything you want at the moment you want it, they're what build resiliency. Seriously. And we're missing that. And it's not by anybody's fault. It's just that the modern world gave us all of these conveniences that I now can see are very detrimental. They're detrimental to people in what they're able to withstand in our business, right? Just the most basic constructive criticism about like, hey, you need to pull your hair up. Hey, you need to break some people. I can't believe it. Really, it blows my mind. But we've got a younger generation of people that can't be told anything. They're not resilient enough to even withstand constructive criticism. That's not good.
Scary. Yep.
It's real scary. If you can't be told to get your hair pulled up, you got a rough walk ahead of you.
Yep.
Yes. And so we now are at a stage where we have to really kind of institute some difficult things into our day.
Yep.
Cold plunging.
Go to the gym.
Go to the gym.
Yep.
Do some things that actually you don't really want to do.
Have hard conversations.
Have hard conversations. God, that's probably the most important one you can do. And people avoid it like the plague these days.
And hard conversation, such a relative term.
Yeah.
Hard means honest. And honest doesn't have to be ugly or mean.
Of course not.
No, but this essence of confrontation, because that's where I see it a lot. And these, the ones who are a little bit afraid of this, resilience, if you will. And I think to add to your definition of resilience, I think it's also just such a state of mind.
It is.
It is a commitment to this is how I'm going to approach this situation. And then I agree with you that it is, the willingness to show up in a way that is simply freaking tough. But hard conversations are such a baseline. I cannot believe how many people say some sense of like, well, I know I need to tell this person this thing, but I'm scared. What happens if you don't tell them?
That's scarier.
So much scarier to me.
It's more catastrophic.
Yeah.
Right?
And then we're all left with some sort of shifted sense of the expectation. I think it's wild. I have to tell you a little bit of a funny story around resilience because it's real, but back to kind of the state of mind. This is, I feel, my most profound example of this. This was last Christmas, and we had drove home to Kansas with our dog, who, mind you, is afraid of cars, so he is blindfolded in the back. Roger and I are driving down.
Blindfolded?
It's a whole thing.
Okay.
We're doing better now. Yes.
I'm like, no wonder he doesn't like to go in the car.
It was brutal.
He's blindfolded.
So we are driving back from Kansas, cooked from all the should-bes of Christmas time festivities and, family expectations and all that come with the holiday season, or used to. We're staying here this year. But we had our final drive stretch ahead of us. We were in Denver, staying with a friend. And the next day we had our final stretch of highway to drive about 9 hours back to Bozeman. And about 2 a.m. the night before, I woke up with the worst food poisoning
Oh, God.
I have ever experienced. And I'm talking did not leave the bathroom for the remainder of the evening.
Oh,
I was being reckoned.
that is
But
so
then-
bad.
Oh, but it gets better. Then Roger. And then a blizzard rolls in that says in the next 48 hours, all roads will be closed in the north part of the United States. Okay, perfect. Here we go. And so the next day, we're wiped, did not sleep at all. And just, you know how it is when you've been throwing up for hours and you're just like a shell of a human being.
Oh, yeah. You're just a reed like blowing in the
Yes.
wind at that point. You just have no.
Terrible. And so we get loaded up. And like even within the load up time, like quick throw up. Okay, here we go again. And we both get in the car and we look at each other. And I just remember saying, you know what? Here's an opportunity that we're going to choose to be friends. And this is going to be absolutely brutal. And we're going to have a good time in some capacity. We're going to figure it out. And it was a brutal time. We were driving on ice, literally having to stop like as often as there was a gas station. But that's what it is. Like there are some hard ones, and like the real teachers of that are the ones where your life shifts completely. But then it becomes a practice. And so when these things that are, you know, like day ending or like, oh, it ruined everything. No, it didn't.
It didn't.
It didn't go the way you wanted it to. That doesn't mean that it has to be the ending and all terrible. And now it's seriously one of our funniest memories. Like, remember when we thought we had to wear diapers back from Denver? It was awesome. But it's just...
Did you wear diapers?
I couldn't find it. Like everything was sold out. I forgot that part because there was a blizzard. Stores are cleared. Like we literally only ate like 2 packets of saltines because it was just like, all right, we're in it together.
Food poisoning in and of itself, worst ever. Really. But stuck in a car and in a snowstorm?
It's comical now, but man.
Oh,
But I just think that, like, you know, kind of back to what you said, and I appreciate what you said about me being a resilient being. Mm-hmm. But I think it really does just become part of your life. Like, it becomes less of a choice of there's not, am I going to face this? It's, how am I facing this in a way that doesn't wreck my world?
Yep.
And still have an all right time doing it.
That's where doing the things on the daily that help you build that resilience muscle, because it is, right? It is like a muscle. You've got to practice it, right? And you can be practicing it every day. If you pay attention in conversations you don't want to have, there's an opportunity for you to be resilient, mentally tough, to go, you know what, I'm not comfortable doing this, but I'm going to have the conversation in a very respectful way.
Yep.
Right? Practicing that alone on a daily basis will build your resiliency like you've never imagined.
What's a memory of like a really tiny piece of resilience that like began your journey with it? Because we talk a lot about the big ones that shifted it all, but where did you start building that?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know how to answer that really, because it wasn't as an adult.
Yeah.
It was as a child. My dad killed himself when I was 10.
Right.
And so I had a moment then of, you're going to have to be pretty tough and pretty resilient from here on out.
Yep.
So I was given the gift of resiliency in circumstances from a very young age.
Sure.
So there's that piece.
Yeah.
But that didn't mean I always had it, right? There was times
Sure.
I would go through being weak, but I had a baseline resilience that was baked into me from the time I was a kid.
Sure.
So I would say I actually have an advantage in that regard.
Sure.
Really. I mean, there's no other way to say that other than it is an advantage.
No doubt.
Right? My husband and I talk about this all the time. Casey's like, he didn't have any glaring, here's this moment where everything shifted and now I have to be tough. And his was in subtle ways, having to really be the man of the house. His dad was a truck driver and away from home all the time. Yeah. He had a subtle influence of needing to be resilient because he then was the little man of the house. Which makes a lot of sense if you know my husband now.
Totally.
Right? Total caretaker. He'll always get shit done. Don't have to ask. He's always taking care of things and everybody. We've discovered recently, it's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense when his dad was never home. And then his dad was in a very, very serious, near fatal truck accident. So he was a truck driver and he was always gone. And then he went off an embankment, that area that's really windy between Great Falls and Helena.
Yeah.
He went off near Helena and they didn't even know he'd gone off the road. He went all the way down like a 500-foot embankment.
Oh my God.
Crawled up to the highway. That's how they ended up finding him. But he was in the ICU for like 6 months. Yeah, was on, was on like kind of like a ventilator deal where it destroyed his vocal cords. So he always had a messed up voice from that time on. So not only did Casey have to do a lot of work around their house because his dad was gone, then when he was home, then his dad was in this near fatal accident and even stepped up further, having to be the man of the house. So those were more subtle resilience builders for him.
Yeah.
Right? Mine were more like, wow, this is just one big thing. Yep. And so I don't think it would be fair for me to say that there's little pieces, right? Because it's kind of like I have an advantage of like I already was tough as shit.
It's an important distinction, though.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I feel...
How about you?
Well, where my mind was is like I didn't like in my big event, which I am okay to talk about, but I realized that I didn't know how to face the big right away. And it was like, whew, first I'm going to need to figure out how to even trust myself on a baseline level. And you said it in one of our lives this week, which was, can you make your bed every day? I could not. Okay. Genuinely. I couldn't. I would either be in bed all day or I would roll out and go live the same day with head down that I did and then literally crawl back into bed without ever giving my space an opportunity of refresh to hold a different space for me. But I think that when you don't grow up with resilience and your twice born moment happens later, there is kind of this retreat period of like, I don't know how to live in my new reality. And these builders of trust and resilience happen so tiny. And that's okay. But that came to mind.
Okay. So are you comfortable telling anybody like your moment?
Yeah. We can do that today.
Yeah.
Well, my twice born moment was when I was 17, 18. I was sexually assaulted by one of my best friends. And even now remembering it, like from my point of observer, it genuinely, like, I did not know my own body. I didn't know my own world. And I grew up in a very protected home. Bad things did not happen in our world. And so I genuinely was so out of being. I couldn't believe, like, a memory wasn't real for me. And so it started becoming real when I recognized how disconnected I was from my body, from my ability to connect with other people. And then I went through a period where I craved nothing but safety of known. And so I put myself in a box that kept me about this big because that's all I had room for. And food was the comfort, and I gained about 70 pounds in a year. Talk about disconnection. Crazy. And then there came a time, let's see, that would have been, this period lasted for about 2.5 years of just like, I don't have room for anybody because I don't have room for myself. And so at the end of that is when I started looking around being like, this isn't my life. These aren't the people that I think I'm supposed to be with right now. This partner isn't who I think I need to be with right now. And that honestly was the first time that I really made a choice for the self that I am today, which was to say that this person isn't a bad person, my partner at the time, but you're not the partner who I am building my life with. And I don't want to keep you from the partner you're supposed to be with.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
We end there. And then a few months after that, I met my now husband again. He came back into my life, and he offered a space of love and growth that was so open and so solid that gave me the space to say, in order to hold enough space for a man of your depth, I am going to have to heal. And that is when my journey with therapy and reconnecting back with myself and things really, I just came home to myself for the first time. And now, I was in therapy for that. And, I think there's so much too that goes in from your childhood, like you were talking about, that you don't recognize goes into the way that you view resilience. And so I was fortunate to have an incredible therapist who was just able to work with me through several years. And that's where I now find genuine gratitude in what happened. Because not only do I get to relate when other women come and say, this has happened to me, we can do that together. And guess what? I promise there's a way out. And on the other side of that is a really beautiful life. Right now is ugly and it is dark, but it's temporary if you let it be. And so thank you for holding that space today.
Well, thank you for your willingness to even share that. Like, you just have no idea how many people need to hear these sort of conversations. So there's a lot there. You and I have talked about that the focus isn't on that particular event, right? That doesn't deserve any energy, right? Nor does the person. But I do have a question for you regarding the necessity to remove yourself from your body.
Yeah.
That it doesn't have to be through a sexual assault. There's other instances where people have to actually, and
100%.
It really is a survival instinct, right? Our brain is wired to have us survive.
Yep.
And so it'll do what it needs to do to survive anything, right? And so it isn't by accident that you say, I just couldn't be in my body. Mm-hmm. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah.
Because that does lead to drinking, eating, all the things that we talk about are vices that we need to remove ourselves from our body.
Sure.
Just
Yeah.
what that period was like for you. Because there's people listening to this that are in that space right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. First of all, I love you, if that's you. And second of all, I think that the knowing that you're without your body is really at the very bottom of the barrel, and a terrifiedness to be able to feel what is happening in your body. It's so big, so foreign that you're like, I can't be here right now. I'm going to need to be over here. And like, even now as I talk about it, I feel it entering back into my body, this sense of like, and I feel it really the most because it feels like emptiness, but it also feels like tightness. And then, okay.
And I want to interject something right there.
Yeah.
When we talked about that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, that right there is concrete evidence of that. Because what do you mean, like, you remove yourself from your body? What? You removed what from your body? You removed your spirit from your body.
Yes.
And we do that. And if we were not spirits having a human experience in a body, we wouldn't have the ability to do that.
Yep.
Right?
100%.
I really want people to focus on that.
It's
That's
true.
big. When you feel that, that's because that's your spirit. It needs to heal.
Yes.
And if pulling itself out of your physical body because your physical body has been traumatized, that's what needs to happen
Yes.
until it can enter back into it.
Yes. And it just so happened that for me personally, that time of out-of-bodiness happened while I was in college, in the time that I turned 21. And like, I was just for the first time experiencing what like true free will felt like. And my free will was reckless in terms of that was the only period of my life that I drank alcohol, not because I enjoyed drinking, but because that really helped me stay out of body. And
Does it ever? I'm the pro there.
For sure. For sure. And then food was just this, it was so without mindfulness. It was consumption in a hope that it would make me, my body, feel something. And it did, but it was worse. It was weighted downness. Like I literally, like I cannot believe the amount of food I could consume as just like one person, because it just was like, well, but I'm in control of that.
There you go.
Yep. Any sense of control, it fit in my box.
That, I'm so glad you said that, because that's what people need to hear. That wanting to control something because you lost all control, right? You lost control of your
Yes.
body in an instant that someone stole from you momentarily.
Yep.
Right? And you needed to control something to regain that, right? To regain your body. Like, I can do what I want. Like, this is my body.
Yes.
Right? And as messed up as that may sound for people, that typically comes into overconsumption of a substance
Something.
or food.
You bet. Yeah. And so, and if you look even now, if I go back and look at photos of myself in that time frame, you can literally see in my eyes the lack of spirit.
Gone.
I was there, but I wasn't there. And so then, you know, again, kind of through this piece of beginning therapy and really reconnecting back to like my soul is when everything in my life just shifted into, oh my gosh, I get to be intentional about everything. And so it really has turned into what I feel one of the greatest gifts that I could have been given in this lifetime, to experience something so hard. And now to not only get to be a voice for people who aren't ready, even if they're in the very first stage where nothing feels in control, to just tell them that this is a time that, like, I promise it can be really, really beautiful, and that this is going to lend so much opportunity of observation that, like, you just don't even know about yet.
Miss Hattie, the fact that you are at a place where you can say that was a gift, you have no idea the gift you are going to give people and are giving people by being at that place and doing the work. Because that's a fucking stretch, man. That's a stretch that I can't imagine.
Thank you. It has been really scary. And what I love about today is that none of this was planned. Not even a little. I
wasn't going to ask you anything like that's personal. I was like,
but genuinely, as soon as you walked in the room today and said, I think we're going to talk about resilience, my body knew that today was the day.
oh,
It was very just like, I cannot speak authentically to a point of resilience without giving the true gratitude to a terrible, terrible thing that happened that lent me the opportunity to be the most resilient, and now get to look at everyday life like it is a literal game, because it is. If you get to choose your daughter's casket and bury her on Mother's Day, or whatever your story is, there is such purpose in that that's greater than the pain that it brought. And I really do believe that to my very core.
and I think that, and this just popped into my head now, even though we spend all this time together now, like every day. I like that. I think that our spirits felt that before we knew anything about one another's story.
Me too.
And that's what I walked in to volunteer at the Brighter Life Foundation and was like, it wasn't just like, this lady thinks big. That was part of it, right? That's the conscious level. But I think the unconscious level was, my spirit can feel her spirit.
Well, and it all connects. I think to be able to think big, you have to have been willing to look at the hard, because growth, expansion, all that good stuff is like, it is hard. And entrepreneurship, again, a gift that has lent me just this, really what entrepreneurship is a test daily of how much are you willing to grow as a person. And I had just not yet met someone who, especially as a woman, had done that in a way that I was like, I think you can teach me how to do that. And man, do you ever, literally daily. And I just hope everyone finds a person that makes it safe. And you are an amazing, you pave the way. And you do that for more people than I think you know you do. Mm-hmm. I'm just lucky enough to get to talk about it out loud. But I think that's part of what makes your energy so intense. And I know that's what drew us together, was just, I had never known that that was okay. I always felt just like a snow blower instead of that of a paver that says like, it is going to be hard to make this new road where it's never been.
Yeah.
But come along, walk it with me.
Yeah.
And so I'm just super thankful that you extended that opportunity and we get to be here having these soul conversations.
No thanks needed, because what the work you did is what brought us here. The work I did is what brought us here, right? At two different times in our lives, right? You would have been a kid when I was going through what I went through with Catherine, right? Because she would be 23.
Wow.
Right? So 23 years ago.
I'd have been 5.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So here I was walking my journey, but doing the work.
Totally.
And then all these years later, here you are walking your journey and doing the work.
Yep.
So the only thing that I would not adjust, but just point out in that is don't go out and find anybody. When you say, like, I hope you find, then people are going to go seeking. That isn't something
You're
you
right.
can seek out. You could have sought me out and not have done work, and this wouldn't be this relationship, right?
True.
So seek
Relentlessly
truth
pursue.
and resiliency in yourself. And then the right people will come into your life.
You can't miss them.
You cannot go out and find those people, because the thing is, the people that are living in their whole true authentic self aren't going to see you and aren't going to let you near them if you're not. Right.
True.
And I think that that is something that feels maybe polarizing to people about me, right? Like people that don't get me or don't understand me, which I don't care, right? I'm not here to have people understand me.
Right.
I'm divinely created.
Yes.
That's it. And I'm flawed all the time in my actions, right? But I'm not flawed as a person. So I think where people like can mistake people that are paving a way, right, is because they don't understand that level of authenticity.
Yes.
That's really what it comes down to, right? You don't even understand what it feels like to actually step into your true self every day and have no problem just telling the truth and showing up and admitting your flaws and admitting your mistakes. Well, I fucked that up. Like I tell people that in our business all the time. Yep, I sure didn't hit that one right. Whoops. Next. That makes a lot of people very uncomfortable.
Yes. And that is why we had today's conversation, because people can't sit in a room with that level of authenticity and not hold their own authenticity without it creating some sort of dissonance. And that's at least a recognition for myself, is when you first told me we were going to be talking about resilience, my stomach went real tight.
Oh.
So I was like, okay. And then my mind was like, well, I can just ask a bunch of questions and da-da-da-da-da.
And I didn't even think about it. Like I was thinking resilience of this guy with the busted up nose and all the things.
And he was a perfect introduction.
There you go. How about that? This is why all of us matter. What does that guy on the side of the street have to do with any of us? Everything. Everything.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Okay. Well, with that, I don't know that we could ramp up much harder because that
I
was
don't
really
either.
pretty
That was
cathartic.
unexpected.
Rather. The best conversations always are, though.
I know. I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have no idea
good.
what we'll talk about next time, but we know that we're excited about it. Thank you for
Love it.
today.
Yeah. Thank you for your honesty and showing up and being you. Amazing girl.
Thank you. Okay. I think I blacked out.
I think I blacked out.
But just for a second. And I was like,
Genuinely, I had no intention of this being our conversation.
me neither. It was time, though.
It couldn't have been any better either. Couldn't have been any better.
I've found myself fearful of the podcast
Today?
in general.
Mm.
We need a North Star. Da 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 da. How do I make a map to where I can? And
It'll
then-
lose its power if we do that.
100%. And that is genuinely what like that was for me. Was like I can't show up here talking about a brighter life without laying out the parts, like the darkest parts that offer now this bright. And I was realizing that like part of my North Star in the podcast was that of fear of like how do I avoid. And so that was today. I was like I can't avoid it.
There you go. And look at you. Look at you.
And I have to hug
Girl.
you. Love you. Thank you.
It was big. And look at you. You're just going to feel like,
I do.
yep, there you go.
Okay.
There's that 100-pound brick. Girl. You can't believe how proud I am of you. And I never say that because it always sounds condescending. That's not. I am so proud of you. So proud of you.
Thank you.
Fucking rock star.
You genuinely have paved the way. I can't sit in a room with you and live anything less than. And if we are going to step into a power that I think we're
Oh.
about to, there's no room for any type of fear.
No, there's no fear. You just gotta
No.
go.
Yep. Okay. We went, it's just now almost noon.
Oh, jeez.
Yep. So,
We were good. We were quick.
yeah.
Are you okay?